Yeah, it is stupid. It makes no sense, because I went to Booking.Yeah, and it's not even a real domain.
Yahoo's the most bloated search engine on the planet these days. Like, it's so bad. Again, it didn't start out as a search engine, so it makes sense, but... Oh my...
Just say they're run by a bunch of yahoos.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I have Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
I am Tabby Cat.
And my name is Alpha Wolf.
And we are back here again with another episode. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Tabby's new cars. So, do you want to explain?
So, I no longer have the Q5. I now have a Volkswagen Golf GTI. And it is awesome. I have about 1,000 miles on it right now. And
Wow, that was quick.
the pops and bangs are really fun.
What year is it from?
It's a 24. I got her off the lot.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. And it is really fun. Pops and bangs for days.
What engine does it have in it?
2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder 2.0T.
Okay, I mean it's a 4-cylinder, so it's not. I prefer a V6 or more, but
For a hot hatch?
The sound is, it's not the fastest,
Yeah.
but it is light.
That's the thing. For a hot hatch,
I can go
a
into-
V6 might be a touch overkill. You've heard of power to...
When I go into corners,
yeah. Well, sorry, real quick.
Sorry.
Have you heard of power to weight ratio?
yes, I am aware of what it is. It's the same reason why a Chevy Trax with a 3-cylinder engine makes no sense for being a crossover.
So, yeah, there is such a thing as putting too much power in a car.
yeah.
Okay,
But
I
the
see
power
why
weight's
it's
really good 'cause it's
V4.
really
Oh, yeah.
light.
How much
But,
more? Can your Golf GTI go fast?
It's not the fastest thing, but it's pretty quick. It gets up there. I haven't done a launch in it yet because it's front wheel drive and I'm not trying to spin all over the place. But I have pushed a good amount of power in it. It is fun because you can go into turns at like 40. Like if it's like a curve or a turn, you go into that at 40 and you just hit this point where the car just goes right into the turn and you come out and you apply some power and you're off. Like
That sounds fun.
is so nice. And then if you downshift it, you just have these pops and bangs from the exhaust. It sounds so good. I mean, if you're in a tunnel or an underpass or even an empty parking garage, it is so fun. I can't wait to show Alpha this car.
Oh, I can't wait to
and I'm
drive
gonna have
it.
an exhaust on it by then.
Yeah, I'm surprised too
gonna,
that for my car, for being as big and heavy as it is, going down my windy roads, that car can basically handle 45 miles an hour. But the problem is, once you come out of the turn, she does not like to downshift.
Oh man. What kind of transmission does that have in it? Just an auto or a
It's just a standard automatic. It's just a six-speed automatic.
Uh.
It does have paddle shifters, so I can drive it with paddle shifters manually. But the response time in it, I've learned real quickly, is absolutely horrible. It takes like 2.5 seconds from the time I pull the paddle till the transmission actually shifts.
You know, that's an issue that I had on the Audi.
Yeah.
I don't
Audi had
I don't
manual
drive
mode.
manual, so I don't know.
You don't have manual mode in your car? You don't have the paddle shifters?
I'm sure I do have the. Oh, that's what paddle shifters are for.
Yeah, so basically you can just change like the gear and stuff. You should try it one day. You know, it's not that hard to learn. You just gotta get the RPMs.
I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could, but it's just I just find letting it be automatic just be easier because the more time I spend fiddling around with the gears, the less time I spend focusing on the road.
All I'm gonna say, if you're learning how to drive a dual clutch manual, get ready to fill up your gas tank a few times. I was getting 8 miles per gallon on the Audi when I learned to drive that in manual mode. 8 miles per gallon on a 4-cylinder.
Yep.
Without pushing it.
The Audi has a 4-cylinder?
Yeah, my old Q5 had a same exact engine as the
just
GTI,
paired with an electric motor.
Also had the hybrid powertrain. Yeah.
Oh,
I think the turbo in the Audi might have also been a little bit bigger. But
I hope it was, considering that it's moving a much bigger car compared to a Golf.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The Audi was so much faster than you would expect. That car did 0 to 60 in 4.1.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised
0 to
that
60 in
had
like 5.5.
Yeah, my car does 0 to 60 in like 8 seconds.
I don't know
That's
how.
Average.
Huh?
I don't know. I haven't actually tested 0 to 60 in my car, although I guess because the problem is that in my area there's really no good roads to do, unless there's no good roads to try that on in my area.
Usually you can get away with doing it on an empty back road or
Yeah.
even from a low populated stoplight or something.
Yeah, I guess
But legally that might not be the best thing depending on the speed limit on the road.
I think
You never know police.
I know some places I could technically try that because most of the roads, 2-lane roads in my area are 55 miles per hour, and they're not going to stop me for going 60. But especially if I slow down right afterwards. So it would be fine, but it's just
Yeah.
But shall I move on to our next topic now, or do you have anything more to say about Tabby's new Golf GTI?
Not that much more to say right now, but in the next few months, there's definitely going to be a few changes. And it's going to be really
I can't
cool.
wait to see that car in person.
It is really nice. I put a spoiler on it, just a little like
Yeah, I
dovetail
saw
spoiler. It just looks so nice.
Yeah, my only complaint is I just wish you would have gotten the manual. I know that manuals suck for urban city driving, but it's just so fun.
I was considering it. I drove a manual GLI, and I liked it, but like, I don't know. Evan has a manual Mark 6 GTI, and he swears by it, but I would end up burning the clutch within 10,000 miles.
Yeah, one of my coworkers, he drives a manual Chevy Cruze, which, yes, they made a manual version of that car. So I'm trying to convince him to give me some more seat time behind, because now that I think about it, the last time I drove a manual was like 6 to 7 years ago.
Wow. If you get another ICE car and it has the option for a manual or an auto, which one would you pick?
If I were to get another ICE car,
like, let's say that like you have the budget to get another ICE car, you just want something kind of like fun in the future.
It's funny that you mention it, because believe it or not, I am car shopping for another car by the end of this year.
Oh wow.
Wait a second. What?
It's not a Tesla, unfortunately. It's supposed to be a supplemental vehicle for Stardust, because over the past winter, I learned a bit of a problem with Stardust in terms of winter driving.
Oh.
What's that?
Ground clearance.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that.
I already scraped the bottom of the GTI a little
Yeah,
bit.
come after a blizzard, and the plows aren't always on top of clearing the roads up here. I mean, considering how fast it can just get reburied, I guess, yeah, it makes sense. They're going to wait for it to lull. But yeah, basically, when I bought the car that first winter, it was still in the El Nino period or whatever, so we had an unusually warm winter, and we didn't get that much snow, so that's why I didn't experience it for the first winter. But this past one, we're now out of whatever that season that is, and it was, don't get me wrong, I thought it was pretty fun, just sledding down the roads, but from a safety perspective, that's absolutely horrible.
What car do you want to replace your Buick LaCrosse with?
I'm looking for a 10-year-old at the oldest GMC Canyon.
What about something like a Suburban?
I thought about it,
If
but
that
the more I think about it, Stardust is the people mover. Stardust already has an excellent back seat. And if I need to move people,
Oh yeah.
then that's what Stardust is for. But what?
Wait a second.
What?
Would the GMC Canyon go alongside Stardust?
Yes, it would be effectively what I'm looking to do is build a 2-car garage at this point.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's something that I wanted to do so bad when I had the Audi.
So I'm debating doing that for the next winter because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love having fun in my car, but at the same time, it's still not a safe thing to do.
You just need a more practical winter car.
I need something with ground clearance.
You just need a more practical winter car.
Having a pickup bed would be useful on the occasion because I've learned there's a few things around the house where having a pickup truck bed would actually be nice, like moving wood from out front to the woodshed. Having a pickup bed is nice for that. Apparently, my parents are trying to put on taking out the trash on me. So, to do that, because I really hate driving my dad's 2002 Sierra. That thing it doesn't even drive straight anymore. I don't know how he drives that thing. But so for the time being, I've been borrowing Talon's F-150 to do that task. But
he's replacing it.
Yeah, he's selling it this month actually. So yeah, I'm thinking to supplement Stardust, get a nice truck, get a GMC Canyon. And even though the Canyon's going to be, well, in theory the GMC is supposed to be more expensive than the Chevy, but when you actually look at the mid-size pickup market, they're pretty much the same price.
Yeah, might as well go with the GMC in that case. But I can't. To be honest, I would much rather own a pickup alongside a sedan just for that reason. Because whilst winters in my area definitely don't get quite as rough as they do in Alphas, still when it does snow in my area, which it does like every 1 or 2. Whereas it would be nice to have a truck just for that kind of stuff, and also the whole like couches.
Mm-hmm. So
you have to pick up
I debated because I also learned there was a period of time where I believe they did actually make a manual version of the truck.
Buy the automatic.
I love driving manuals though. I mean,
well,
I haven't done it in many years, but it's something I would love to get back into. So, I mean, I'm probably going to end up buying an automatic because finding the manuals are nearly impossible. But I think what I might be able to do, because that truck was also designed to have a manual put in it as well as an automatic, I'm debating potentially doing a transmission swap in it if I have the cash to allow me to do it. Just an idea I'm toying around with, but yeah, I'm thinking of adding a second car to my fleet, hopefully by the end of this year.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Alright, well, do you have anything more to say about that, or shall I move on to Alpha's ESA saga?
I think we should move on.
Yeah, so I just uploaded part 2 today, as of when we're recording the podcast, so. Tabby, you got the gist of what happened, right?
I actually haven't had the chance to watch the video yet. I've just been so busy with everything with the car and all, I've barely even been able to edit my own videos. But I heard a little bit about it in the group chat.
Yeah, I watched the first part 2, but I haven't had time to watch it since.
All right, so
I mean, I guess I technically did, but I just...
To give a recap of what happened real quick, effectively, as I'm planning the trip to head out to where Tabby is, of course, in that process, well, I need to book a hotel room to stay. So I looked in an area you suggested in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and me and Talon, he's coming with me on this trip. We came across Extended Stay America, and the thing that appealed to us a lot was they have nice. A mini kitchenette.
Oh. Huh.
And I mean, of course we're going to go out and try a bunch of restaurants and such, but we don't want to eat restaurant food all the time. On the occasion, like I learned last time from my North Carolina trip, the biggest thing that bothered me was lack of home cooked meals.
Oh, that's the same thing that drove me nuts when I went on a road trip. When I went on my road trip last October, mind you, I was only gone for two and a half days, and like especially fried food from restaurants like has a tendency to bother my stomach because there are some types of frying oils that bother it. So I literally waited to eat lunch until lunch. The day I got back, I waited to eat lunch until like 1 or 1:30 so I could go to one local Subway and get something that was a lot lighter isn't quite the right word, but just to get something that at least wasn't quite restaurant-y.
Yeah. So that was the big thing that appealed to us. It's like, how many hotel chains actually offer a kitchenette, especially for the price they were asking?
Yeah.
So that's why we ultimately selected them. The problem was, in the process of booking it, their website screwed up the dates.
Oh,
so what? Instead of booking for out in August when we plan on coming down, it booked us for that very night.
Why?
I don't know.
How does that even happen?
So
that's such a joke.
So that ended up happening. So I immediately caught that, by the way. The second that I was looking at the confirmation thing, and then it said, booking for April 20th to April 27th. I'm like, excuse me.
That definitely doesn't work.
Like, I can't travel 1,000 miles in under 3 hours right now. Sorry. So I immediately called customer support to inform them that this somehow their website screwed up, and this was after trying to reschedule the dates on the booking. They had a modify button, except it's not really a modify button. It's more of a create new booking button. I know. It's their website's absolute trash. So I called customer support. They told me that they couldn't help me cancel it right then because I made the booking at 9 p.m. and apparently their cancellation office closes at 6 p.m.
Why?
I don't know, but keep this detail in the back of your head. Keep note down that their cancellation office is closed at 6 p.m. and I made the booking at 9 p.m. because this is where everything starts to go downhill. So they told me they couldn't help me right then because their office was closed, and told me to call back first thing in the morning. I did just that.
Yeah.
And first half, lady on the phone was really helpful as much as she could. I confirmed the name, the reservation order, everything, trying to get all of this canceled and get the no-show fee that I got charged because I didn't show up that night. Gee, I wonder why. But after I confirmed all the details, and apparently she'd have to go to one of her managers to actually process the refund and handle that, she told me, I'm going to put you on hold for 2 minutes. 10 minutes go by.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I was still on hold. 10 minutes go by. I'm like, something went wrong. I know. I can just tell something went wrong. And she came back with bad news saying that the manager would not let her process the refund because I didn't call the cancellation office before 6 p.m.
Didn't you make it after 6 p.m.?
Exactly.
So how's that your fault?
Exactly. And that's
a joke. The whole system it's got to be designed that way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I pointed out in my part 1 video. So I laid this out for them again to make it...
Because who closes that?
I laid this out for them to make it as clear as possible, and they're like, nope, you didn't call before 6 p.m.
And then here's my other question, right? For them. If the cancellation department closes at 6 p.m., then why doesn't the booking department close at 6 p.m. too?
Exactly.
Shouldn't they be the same department in the first place?
That's what I thought.
Shouldn't it just be the reservation department?
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but...
It's like, how many eggheads do they need to make a reservation? It's... it's nonsense.
Oh, the story gets worse. So I tried calling the specific location in Gaithersburg to see if there was anything they could do on their end, and I figured they weren't going to be of much help. I mean, she did a good job explaining to me, the manager at that location did a good job explaining to me that, yeah, the website sucks, it's not particularly clear, but did a really good job on informing me how their backend systems actually work, since their website fails to do so. But told me there was nothing she could do on her end, and she then transferred me all the way up to the head office, all the way up to corporate.
Oh, wow.
And it gets worse.
How can corporate mess this one up?
I explain the situation again, and right as he's validating all the information, the guy instantly goes, "Oh, nope, you didn't call before 6 p.m. Sorry, can't help you." In that tone, by the way.
Joker. No, it's not funny, but...
The dude sounds like a joker.
So, again, like how you were mentioning, how is it my fault that I couldn't... All that stuff. I laid it out this way. You are perfectly fine that you gave me effectively -3 hours to call about a problem that you guys caused. And this is okay with you?
I mean, think about it this way. If this guy was doing something like this in real life, he'd get his ass kicked. If he talks to someone that way in real life, you know where he's going to end up? He's going to end up in an ambulance.
Probably.
Because here's the thing. Not especially in some of these areas where they're probably holding corporate, they're not going to, speaking in that tone, you don't do that to people. It's like looking down on another person because they have a question or they have an issue. That's so stupid to me.
Yeah, so that at that point, that was basically where I had ended that day, where, yeah, corporate had completely refused to help me. Their website put me in a bad situation.
That's corporate's job to help you,
too. They just failed to help me.
Yeah.
So that's why I made the video. That's why I went public on this whole thing. And so that's end of part 1, effectively. To summarize part 2, after I uploaded the video, you know how I always post a link on Twitter?
Didn't you see that?
They saw it on Twitter. They took forever to... Well, they told me basically... DM them on Twitter. So I did just that. I explained the whole situation again. I even put a link to the whole video so I didn't have to leave like multi-page long text or whatever. And they waited like 27 hours to respond to that, by the way. Yeah.
Wow.
After that, they then asked for details like the hotel and the reservation number and such like that. So I provided that to them. And they told me after that that they were going to go to corporate, explain the situation to them again, and the following day I should receive a call from them. I never got a call from them.
What a joke.
You know who I did get a call from, though?
Who?
The hotel manager.
Oh, what did they say?
This is where I made a big section in part 2 explaining that there's something going on with the corporate hierarchy structure and all that. I have a feeling ESA is putting all the blame on the manager of that hotel for this whole thing.
Really? Wouldn't it be the
Yeah.
system?
And they're placing all the blame on this manager. I could tell by just her tone when she was speaking to me that somebody gave her a real good talking to.
That's screwed up.
Absolutely.
That's a bra moment.
Yeah. So she told me. She told.
Why would they?
They got the refund process, so I do have my money back. Yeah. They told me that they found the Discover chargeback. And they didn't even attempt to dispute it. They're like, nope, yeah, just take the money back. We're not going any further than this. But at the same time, I feel absolutely terrible for that poor lady at Extended Stay America Gaithersburg.
Yeah,
I understand.
So it's also a part of the reason why I have a correct reservation still for those dates. It's part of the reason why I'm still holding on to it. Just I feel so bad for this lady taking all the blame for what effectively is a failure on their system and upper management.
Right.
It's absolutely screwed up. But at this point, there's not really...
it honestly is.
There's not really much else I have to the story. I have a strong feeling ESA is never going to contact me again unless I call them directly for something else, but...
Yeah, so you're going to book somewhere else?
Well, we still have the August booking, so we're going to stick with that. I at least want to help support that lady after this whole thing that she absolutely did not deserve. But after I check out that day, ESA is never getting my business ever again. Neither are they getting Talon's.
Maybe they'll get a nice Google review though.
Yeah, well, the people,
maybe a YouTube
the lower tier customer service
you know what we should
agents, the lower tier customer service agents were awesome. They immediately understood the problem and were trying to do everything in their power to help me out. The problem was the guys in the upper offices.
They just have too big of an ego in my, the way that I see it.
Yeah.
What'd you say
Huh?
Or what'd you say when you asked, what we should do?
When you do come here, we should make a video on the hotel and we should produce it like to Doug DeMuro quality. We should go over the quirks and features of the hotel and stuff. We can bring like my setup and all. We can bring the my microphone and all. Just like do some way overproduced video on it. Oh, I see a cat.
Oh yeah, there is a Spot.
How's that thing get up there?
Spot jumps up there from my desk.
Huh? That thing loud?
Spot typically spends most of her time. Spot spends a lot of time up there, so she's been up there ever since the show started.
No, but like, is that thing loud though? Like, make a lot of noise?
Or sometimes, like when she's getting up and down, she can be a little bit louder, but otherwise, no, she doesn't really make much more noise.
Well, that's nice.
Like, I didn't even realize she was up there until Tabby pointed it out. Or, I mean, I knew it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought...
Alright.
Yeah, just to wrap the whole thing up, I thought booking with Booking.com, that website, was already a bit of a hassle last time around. I think I'd rather use Booking.com than the hotel's own website, because clearly I guess it's to be expected. Booking.com is focused on being a good website for this one task. Meanwhile, the hotel chains, they're not focused on building a good website. They're focused on hotel stuff. But when the website's this bad, just
don't offer it.
Yeah. Absolute trash. Their website is just terrible.
All right, well, shall I move on to actual tech news?
Hold on. I gotta show you guys. So I looked up Booking.com, right? And I gotta show you guys what the first thing that popped up was. People don't like this place at all. People do not like this website. Check the group chat.
Oh, good. Let's see what this is.
It is a stupid phrase. Booking.com, Booking.Yeah. But the way these guys on Reddit are phrasing it is just so funny. Such a lazy slogan. Booking.Yeah doesn't mean a thing and was clearly phoned in when Booking needed a slogan.
Booking.Yeah.
That's a stupid... Yeah, it is stupid. It makes no sense because I went to Booking.Yeah and it's not even a real domain. Someone should buy the domain Booking.Yeah and put some, like, redirect it to, like, Hilton Hotels or something, or some, like, other booking site.
Wait a second. That's actually... Oh my gosh. Maybe I will buy a domain Booking.Yeah and turn it into...
Make it go to your YouTube channel.
Oh! That's actually a genius idea, because there's so much...
Everyone's going to be going to that stupid domain.
Because people are always going... That's genius. I should do that.
You should.
Booking. Or else I should have it like be an entire website just that makes fun of Booking.com.
I think you would end up getting sued pretty quickly if you actually did this.
Okay, maybe I should just have Booking.Yeah go to my YouTube. If I have Booking.Yeah go to my YouTube channel, then I'll boost my views instantly. It'll be weird URL, but...
I mean, you'll be the only person who has a Booking.Yeah URL.
That's
Think
true.
of the commercials. You could pretty much say, yeah, I'm running commercials for my YouTube channel. You could say, yeah, my channel was on a commercial. Booking.Yeah, look at me. And then you could probably upcharge Booking.com for the actual domain if they ever want it. You could probably charge them a couple $1,000.
Probably.
That is if Booking.Yeah isn't available.
I will make sure to make the price go up to $3 million. I'll try to make sure to get every bit of Booking.Yeah. Actually, let me try to go Booking.Yeah and see what comes up.
It just redirects me to a search engine.
Yes! Booking.Yeah. Buy domain.
Hey guys, I gotta head out.
Okay. You can't actually buy the domain.
Alright, see ya.
Alright, I'll see you later, Tab.
Good to have him on for at least
Alright, well, you can't... Alright, you can't technically have Booking.Yeah because you can't have, like, a site ending .yeah, but... Getting back, shall I move on to what the show is actually intended for regarding tech news?
Yeah, I guess so. Just had a lot of personal updates everyone had to get out of the way.
Alright, so our first actual tech news topic is that all devices sold in the European Union must have labels about battery life, efficiency, durability, repairability, and more starting in June 2025. So in other words, it says, as I think Martin is the guy from the Friday Checkout, I think that's his name. I think he said that the Friday Checkout called it nutrition labels for phones.
Is that not what the website's for?
That's a valid point. I mean, I think I can sort of see why the European Union wants to do that, so that way you can.
What do you think the tech specs are
backs
for?
of devices from different I meant from different brands. I can sort of see why maybe they would want that, but at the same time, that's what websites like Phone Arena are for.
That and like, especially if they make different storage configurations, for example, like, don't they include a lot of those technical details on the box already?
Yeah, it would just be about like, it would just have to list stuff like that's not even constant, like battery life and efficiency.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to rate because it all depends on what task you're doing.
Also, I mean, repairability, like, no one cares about the repairability of their devices. Or else if you do, most people don't, I should say.
Yeah. That, and it's like, how do you measure that?
Also, I mean, I guess it's by easiness of repairability, but also, has to start in June. Meaning that Apple, for example, and all the devices sold in the EU, starting this June, they have to literally print out all the nutrition labels on their devices.
Just what a dumb idea that literally nobody asked for. It's like, it reminds me of, when you buy a Windows laptop, they'll come with the Intel Inside stickers and all that.
Yes.
It's like, nobody asked for it. Nobody cares.
Also, that would have to be like literally engraved on the device.
They're engraving it on the devices?
I think so.
Sorry, Europeans, you can kiss good design goodbye.
I mean, at least if nutrition labels for food, they're on the packages.
Yeah, if you need to put details like that somewhere, that's what the box is for. Do not put it on the... It's like needing to put a sticker on my monitor to display the energy consumption that it uses all the time.
Apple never does that.
Or what's another ridiculous example? Oh, you need to put a giant sticker on the windshield to display what the average fuel economy is for the car.
Another stupid example is on both my Windows desktops. Both of them have stickers, so I can show you guys this. I don't know how good of an angle this is going to be, but on my Toshiba, there's a sticker for Skype, how it advertises voice and video calling, Energy Star, two Energy Star stickers actually, Windows 7 and an Intel Inside Core i5. And then on my Acer, it not only advertises Intel Inside, but also advertises the display, how thin it is, its front-facing speakers, and its easy cable management.
Yeah, so all of these can be details placed either on the box or in the box. It does not have to be on the device.
I know, but again, we've learned a long time ago that the EU doesn't necessarily care.
They're so... They're so ill with artificial intelligence disease right now.
Yes, they are, but shall we move on to our next topic, also regarding the EU?
Shocking. Everyone's in violation of the Digital Markets Act.
So, the EU has fined Apple 500 million euros for violating the Digital Markets Act with the App Store, not showing better deals from outside the App Store, and so Apple's appealing. Now let me ask you this question. Like, this is actually one that you see advertised, but let's say you're shopping for this is actually a good example. Let's say you're shopping for a MacBook.
What?
What are you doing, Alpha?
I have to.
Oh, you're sending that
It's
to
absolute. This is child's play.
Okay, so getting back onto my example. So let's say you're looking to buy a new MacBook at Walmart. Let's say for some reason, or let's say this is actually more or less, let's say you're looking to buy a MacBook on Apple.com. Now, sometimes you can get Apple products for discounts on Amazon.com. Now, are you fine with Apple not showing the cheaper price on Amazon.com?
I mean, despite that, Apple still makes a big portion of the sale. They make more money if you buy it directly from their website than you do from Amazon.
That's true. So that's a valid. So I mean that's fair. That's fair. That's just fairness. Like your customers should be able to do their own research on this kind of thing. For part of the big rules of businesses is that you have to is that you try businesses' main goals are to try and make money.
Yeah. It's like, what are they going to do next? They're going to fine Apple for not giving Android enough praise on how much quote unquote better they are compared to the iPhone. Are they going to fine them $1 million for that next?
Euros, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. For back in December of 2022, I saw back when the EU was trying to force sideloading. Back when that first got started, I saw a tweet that said Apple's just 3 laws away. The EU is 3 laws away from companies starting to pull out, and from what I've seen with first of all, the Digital Markets Act is part of that, so I guess technically, but I think the Digital Markets Act is a bunch of laws, so I think I would safely say that now they've gone way more than 3 laws beyond since December 2022.
Yeah, it's obvious they've gone too far. The issue is no one's fighting back about it. And what I mean by no one's fighting back, I mean like Apple's not fighting back. They need to. I know that they can easily pull out of the EU market. I mean, yeah, are they going to take a hit to sales? Yes. Is that going to look bad for shareholders? Absolutely. But at the same time, how far are you going to let them tear you apart before you're just dead, left for the vultures to devour?
That's a perfectly valid point.
At that point, that's also bad for your shareholders.
Yeah, but shall we move on to something? Shall we move on to another a actually good find that the EU did?
Oh.
So as much as we like to bash the European Union, at least they've cracked down pretty hard on Meta with their privacy. At least they've done that, and the EU has also fined Meta 200 million euros. Wait a second, that's less than they fined Apple. Okay, it's less than they fined Apple, even though
this should probably be with a B at the end instead of an M.
Yeah, they fine that much for violating the Digital Markets Act over privacy concerns.
I mean, it should be obvious. We know how Meta functions. Of course, with how infamous they are for their tracking. It's like they're asking for a front row seat for these types of fines. They're asking for a front row seat, first class, all the extras, just to get themselves in the hot seat with governments over privacy concerns.
Yep, that's what Meta's doing, and I'm hoping we know Meta's not going to learn from this, but maybe someday they will. But shall we move on to our next topic now, or do you have anything more to say about this?
I don't know. Anything that hurts Meta is good for me. So that's all I can say. So.
All right. Now, this next topic is definitely going to... Well, Alpha's middle finger already made this episode explicit, but this next topic is definitely going to make the show explicit.
Ooh, yeah, I can see how.
but it's an important one. So we are going to have to talk about this. But basically, the Take It Down Act in the U.S. has banned AI porn and mandates that platforms must remove it in 48 hours. So, for example, a couple of examples where this would come into play is like the AI cat videos that Alpha was talking about.
Oh yes,
they would legally have to get taken down within 48 hours now with this. And what else? And what else? And what? Oh yeah, like there's some scammers that teenage boys are vulnerable to that use AI generated porn to attract the young men. So that's what they, and that would also get. I can't say, or actually yes, I've heard this mentioned on YouTube. Sextortion scammers basically. That would also, like, if they use AI, that would also be legally required to be taken down.
What's that phrase that is absolutely annoying to have to bring up, but is totally necessary? Oh, I told you so?
I mean, I'm glad the United States is doing this because I don't. Now, granted, I would recommend doing your own research on this as a viewer, but the last I checked, it was bipartisan. I don't know if it still is.
Well, I hope it is because,
yeah,
in general, it's all disturbing. But I'm happy to see that at least part of it is finally being pulled into question. Hey, is AI a good thing? Because I mean, look at what these scammers can do now. I mean, they've gotten scary good.
Yep.
And this AI stuff has only made it worse.
Exactly. I mean, AI content is still easy to spot, but at the same time, like, it's still good. But a lot of people don't know how to tell the differences between AI and real life and real images.
And at the same time, there are still plenty that look so convincing. It's like,
yeah,
just I called it. What is the number one use case that people will legit actually use this for? Scamming. And this type of malicious behavior. Called
now,
it.
If only they start banning more.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
AI generated scams. Yeah. Well, technically all scams are illegal, but
well, then there's also the fact that where are they getting this data to train these models off of? They're still haven't gotten any word about properly fixing that yet. So, just I hate that we're pouring as much money as we are into this technology where the number one use case where it seems to be helpful is for malicious and illegitimate practices.
Almost as if scammers got their way into tech companies and realized went undercover into tech companies to try to make it easier.
Yeah, just it's good that the crackdown has started, but they need to expand the crackdown.
Yeah, absolutely. But shall we move on to our next topic now?
This phone's still relevant?
So, I was debating whether or not to include this one but I decided to just because it seems to be getting some traction in tech news. But basically, there's the new Motorola Razr Ultra that focuses on AI. Yay! Not really.
Wow! Yeah, that makes the phone totally worth it, right?
And folding phones are so useful. Not really.
It's one gimmick stacked on top of another. It's like
I should know this. I do own a folding phone.
they thought one gimmick wasn't good enough, so now they put 2 gimmicks on it that are absolutely useless. I mean, I'll be honest. I appreciated the original Motorola Razr. I'm talking like the original foldable phone Motorola Razr, just because it was pulling on nostalgia. I just thought it was cool. It only made sense to me if you made it as a one-off product for nostalgia purposes. If they did that, then I probably would have thought that's pretty cool. But they're not doing that. So,
I think Motorola's just trying to revive their old fame again.
Well, what were they famous for last time? Let me think. Last time, it was budget flip phones. They're famous today for budget cheap smartphones.
And I mean the Razr in the tech world, but in the tech news, but no. But I've never seen a foldable Motorola Razr outside in the wild.
Neither have I, actually.
But this is not our last talk about foldables in this episode, if we get to that, but shall I move on to our next topic?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Folding phones to death. Alright, so this is actually a fascinating one, which is that Discord is becoming public. Or, like, the company itself is going to go public.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
AI is going to come to Discord more!
Going public these days is like one of the last things you want to be doing.
I know!
It's just... I can't stand investors these days. They make absolutely no sense. And so when a company goes public, where investors can start pouring their thoughts and however, it's just... The way I see it, when a company is first born, it's started by 1, maybe 2 guys, maybe 3. But a very, very small group of people with an idea and a vision. The second the company goes public, that vision doesn't matter anymore. Because, it's only 1, 2, 3 guys out of hundreds of people, thousands of people.
To be honest, I know this is a crazy thought, but I actually think it should be illegal to publicly trade companies.
I mean, there's good reasons for doing it. The problem is we don't use those good reasons anymore.
I know, but we've already gone to rant on investors enough, so shall I move on to our next topic?
Oh yeah, I just watched a news clip about this today, actually.
Oh, so as we all know, Google might have to sell Chrome if they in the antitrust lawsuit, which I mean makes sense because even though I don't personally like that Google is being forced to sell Chrome because they did technically create it, as I think they should be forced to sell things they didn't create like YouTube and Android. But I digress. Getting back on topic, if Google must sell Chrome, OpenAI, Perplexity, and Yahoo all want to buy it.
I don't like any of that. For one, if OpenAI buys it, we know exactly what's going to happen.
It's going to become an AI first experience, which they actually say that they want to make it AI first, AI a top priority if they buy Chrome.
Nobody wants that. Nobody. I mean, I'm already not a Chrome user. I use Safari on my Mac, and any guesses what I use on Windows?
Firefox?
Yep. I don't use Chrome. I actually use Firefox on Windows.
The only reason why I have Chrome on my Mac still is because when for some reason on Safari on my Mac, whenever I try to switch back and forth between my podcast account and my main account, which is where my main YouTube channel is, it always defaults to my podcast account, which is not my main Google account. So
I have a feeling it has to do with the way
so
you bookmarked it. Because I've had the same issue at first too, and I found out it actually has to do with the bookmarks.
Okay, maybe once I get that worked out, I might delete Chrome from my Mac.
Yeah, so, but even if I was a Chrome user today, which I know I'm not, but even if I was a Chrome user today, if I found out OpenAI bought this, instantly gone. I want nothing to do with this AI BS. I'm so sick of it. It's already crammed down my throat with on my iPad and my Mac due to Apple intelligence, that Apple BS or whatever. It's crammed down my throat with Microsoft Windows and their Copilot BS. I don't need it crammed down my throat any more than it already is.
I know. For every time I've tried to use AI, it just doesn't work very well.
It's either it doesn't work or it has no purpose. It has no legit use case.
Exactly. But switching away from ranting on AI, I don't actually know what Perplexity does.
I'm trying to remember what they do.
Oh, they're an AI company. Okay, that's also as bad as OpenAI.
Okay, so yeah, that's still bad. And then
Yahoo is the most bloated search engine on the planet these days. Like, it's so bad. Again, it didn't start out as a search engine, so it makes sense, but oh my god.
Just say they're run by a bunch of Yahoos.
Yes! That's actually why the founders actually thought it was hilarious, which is why they named it that, but the reason why people switched to Google instead of Yahoo is because Yahoo was so bloated. Because, I mean, Yahoo wasn't necessarily bloated when it first started because they initially made a web directory of, like, many websites. And, in fact, the reason why Amazon is called Amazon is because Jeff Bezos wanted the site name to be at the top of the directory.
Mm-hmm.
Alphabetically, which is why he named it Amazon, but I digress. Getting back on topic, Yahoo is such a bloated search engine that I can see why you wouldn't want.
And they want to bloat it even more with AI BS.
Because when I was Yahoo wants to bloat more too.
Yeah, they want to blow the search engine even more with AI BS this time.
Oh, that's even worse. Because when I actually created my Google account back in 2015, or my main one, my mom actually asked because I wanted an email address. My mom said, "Okay, you can have one." Actually, I'm kind of surprised my mom said yeah that because I was 7. But I digress. Anyway, when my mom asked me if I wanted Gmail or Yahoo, and I said chose Gmail.
Yeah. I hardly come across anyone who uses Yahoo Mail these days.
One of my relatives does, but that's just because he's old. But that's just because he's so old that he's had his email address for so long. But he doesn't even use Yahoo search anymore.
But I guess also a big part
he hasn't used Yahoo search for a while.
Getting back more on topic though, I guess a big part of the whole problem with the 3 companies you listed, wouldn't that effectively put them in the exact same position as Google?
Yes.
So at that point, what was the whole point of the antitrust case?
The only way another company buying Chrome makes sense is if another company that's worth a lot of money that doesn't do tech bought it. Like if McDonald's brought Chrome, even though I know they wouldn't.
I don't even think that would make sense, but the only thing that would make sense is if Chrome literally became its own company.
That would make I don't know if the FCC will let them do it, because I mean, I don't know if I think the FCC is trying to make Chrome. No, the FCC, no, the U.S. Department of Justice actually wants Chrome to be sold to another company instead of being spun off.
That's not.
That makes no sense.
No, that does not make any sense at all. They're just. They're just taking problem from here and placing it right here. The problem still exists. What does that accomplish?
When the U.S. Department of Justice split up GE and RCA, they split them up into two separate companies back in, I think, the 1930s. Yeah, it was 1930s when they did that.
I legit think people forgot what the whole antitrust case thing was supposed to be for. Because they've tried it so many times on Apple with so many things. Most of the time, Apple can scrape by. Same with all the other big tech. And it's just... I feel these days it's based on pettiness.
I really think it is. I haven't actually heard anything about Apple's antitrust case since the DOJ initially sued Apple. Interestingly,
yeah.
Except for when 4 more states joined.
Did anything come out of the antitrust case last year?
I have literally heard nothing about it.
Neither have I.
I have literally heard. Which means that they're delaying it for some reason. Since if Apple goes on an antitrust case, that would be all over the news.
Yeah, they're trying so hard to bring down these big tech companies, and I get it. They have an advantage over smaller companies. I do understand that. But at the same time, playing petty doesn't solve any problems.
No, it doesn't. It'd be the literal equivalent of Elon Musk suing GM for antitrust, or it'd be the literal equivalent of Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency Agency suing GM.
Yeah. It's like the solution to this. If you're frustrated with where big tech is and how they have such a big advantage on the market, then you got to come up with something better.
Yep.
That's what that's a huge plus that small companies have. They don't have to deal with bloated investors that have no vision for the actual company other than, how do we get money quick, fast, easy, without customers even knowing it. Instead, with the smaller company, they have the time, they have the energy to focus on something maybe better than what big tech has to offer.
Exactly.
The problem is the government refuses to see it this way. Most people refuse to see it this way. And this is why there is legit no innovation going on in this space right now. Because it's all just a petty battle of, Apple doesn't do things that I like. Or, why does Google have all the ad revenue and such? It's like...
I know, there's literally a song released either in the 50s or 60s, but that was about how humanity has basically reached a limit, and I have a feeling that back then it was likely due to the same level of innovation. Back then it was due to companies just getting lazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say
right
Apple's gotten
computing
lazy.
Boom.
Apple's gotten so lazy. Even the Apple sheep admits
laziness
it.
is. Yes, I'm even willing to. I never thought, even when the show started, I didn't even think when the show started, I maybe would have thought you maybe could have called Apple lazy then, but it was a lot harder to call Apple lazy then. But now, it's so it's so easy to call Apple lazy.
Yeah, just for one, look at iOS 18. You don't have to look hard. And then the iPhone 16s that came out. I mean, we've gone on this whole rant before. It's just, I'm frustrated that most of the community doesn't really see this. And I get so tired of scrolling when it comes to tech videos. I'm just scrolling, oh, top AI features that legit no one gets. How can you guys make videos on this stuff and still be excited? Like, Max Tech uploaded a video yesterday, I think. Top AI features coming to iOS 19. How is it they can always act excited about the same BS?
It's probably because they are excited about that, and they don't, and they're being fooled by the tech companies.
It's just, it's not realistic. It's not realistic to just praise every single thing a company does. There's some channels that do it with not just Apple in particular, but any company. All companies. It's all positivity. And I know they're lying to themselves, because you compare the industry today to what it was 5 years ago. The rate of innovation has just severely dropped. At this point, it's only small iteration, small incremental upgrades. And no, there's truly no innovation going on in this space right now. And all these other YouTubers can think about to make videos on and somehow muster some excitement for it is, oh, top AI features that will change your life. It's like,
Tabby literally uploaded a video back in 2020 and 2021 explaining how, on his main channel Tabby Pairs, about how people have been claiming for so long that Apple didn't change anything with the iPhones, and back in 2014 with the hang on, let me grab them. Between the iPhones, people complained about how between the iPhone 6 and 5S, Apple didn't change anything, which is an absolute lie. And I mean, yeah, I'm not saying, I'm not, and I still don't believe that Apple isn't changing anything. But now, and back then, I mean, you could agree that was a little bit of a joke too. But now it's, I mean, I'm not saying that Apple isn't doing anything meaningful with their product upgrades now, but you can tell that there's definitely, especially in the software space, they're definitely getting lazy.
Yeah, the software space, they're getting lazy. And with the iPhone 16, I mean, yeah, they made changes to it, but I'd argue those changes are not for the better.
And a lot of people claim that Android used to be so much more innovative with at a faster pace than the iPhones, which, I mean, I agree with that, but now Android phones have gotten even less innovative.
Because, we gotta make our iPhone clones, everyone. Because it seems like Apple is the only one who knows how to make a smartphone.
I know, but we've gone into this for long enough, so shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic? We still have several topics to go.
Yeah, I guess so. All right.
So, it turns out that OpenAI actually hates Bing because they stated that it has provided unreliable search results.
No! Really?
Yes! Almost as if OpenAI maybe is actually gaining some real intelligence.
So I need to be clear real quick. Was OpenAI using Bing for searching, or was Bing using OpenAI for searching, or whatever?
I think OpenAI is trying to use Bing for searching in this case.
Oh, no, nobody uses Bing. And for good reason.
No.
Windows search in general. Windows cannot make a search engine to save their lives. The search engine within the taskbar for finding anything, don't even bother trying it. You're never going to find what you're looking for.
It's not even that good in Windows 7.
No. Windows search has always sucked. Apple makes a better search engine than Microsoft.
I know.
Spotlight.
I know.
So, yeah. Really, they hate Bing because they can't get reliable results. No! Really?
Alpha, I think summed up perfectly, but shall we go ahead and move on to our first EV topic?
Yeah, I guess so. We started off with EV. Well, no, we started off with cars in general. Now we're finally moving on to the electric car space. Oh, and this gets interesting.
All right, so and then we'll go back to tech, but because this is apparently what TIFP has become almost. Well, next episode is actually gonna be our 100th, which I don't actually. I actually do have an idea for our 100th episode that I'll tell you about after we stop recording.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it can't be a get-together in-person podcast because... Yeah,
no.
That would have been awesome, though, because that's what the Talos of Tech podcast did for their 100th episode.
Also, Genius Bar did that,
too. Oh, yeah, true. Genius Bar did the same thing. So, sorry, guys. We can't do that.
We don't... Yeah, we can't do that because my parents probably wouldn't let me do that even if we tried, and we would probably, and I can't take off for school to do that because we would realistically probably have to, we would have to figure out a meeting place because we all live so far away from each other.
If I had to guess, in order for that to work, I'd have to actually move out of this house, and because I'd be the only one with my own place, not having to worry about any other parents or family members and the whole awkward situation in regards to that.
We could always do my, if we were going to do this, we could have done my house or Tabby's, but again, just getting the timing to work out would just be kind of difficult.
And we all live basically equidistant distance from each other, so...
Well, Alpha's like double the distance for me compared to... I'm like double the distance from Alpha than Tabby.
I'd say a little more than double.
Yeah.
I don't know your exact location, but I have a good enough estimate to get a rough idea. And I think we're fairly equidistant, I think.
I am not equidistant from Tabby and Alpha.
Well, either way, that aside, back, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, EV stuff.
Alright, so Tesla is now offering the deep blue metallic and pearl white colors at no extra cost on their Model 3 performance orders.
If I was in the market for a Model 3 performance, that'd be awesome for me because I would totally get mine in the blue paint, but I don't need the performance Model 3. I thought about it for a little bit just because it'd be great for content, but the more I think about it, honestly, I probably would just get the rear drive Model 3.
Makes sense.
Not only is it their cheapest, but it's their longest range car. It's their most efficient car too. Because it doesn't have the front motor like the rest do. So that saves on weight.
Is rear wheel drive you need rear wheel drive for the UP, right?
Well, it's not. When it comes to drivetrain selection up here, when you have to go uphill and in snowy conditions, you're either going to ideally you'd want all of your wheels driven. That would make it the easiest.
Yeah.
Of course. Though actually, you typically want the wheels driven where the most weight is placed on them. So in a gas car, that would be front wheel drive. In a sports car, that would actually be a rear wheel drive. just because you want the weight pushing the tires into the snow, so that way they have the ability to grip and they're less likely to slip.
When I know my next car is definitely going to have to be all-wheel drive, like that will be a must for me. Because my current car is all-wheel drive, and I can definitely say that having all-wheel drive is handy in some extreme weather conditions.
I mean, take it from someone who's owned only front-wheel drive cars for their life in absolute nasty conditions. I've always said it before. It's not about how many wheels are driven. It's all about your tire selection. That's what will always make the bigger difference.
I know tire selection matters the most, but that's just further down the road. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm serious. A lot of people think they need all-wheel drive. Most of the time, actually, no. In fact, despite my dad's truck, the 2002 Sierra, it does have four-wheel drive, but despite that, it's in the condition it's in where there's no bed on the back of it. It's just frame with a sheet of plywood. He still mostly drives that thing in rear drive. There's no weight on those wheels. And he still drives that in the winter. And he gets by just fine. And I took it a couple times in the winter myself. It's okay. I mean, can you slide around in it? Yes. Can it happen a tad unexpectedly? Yes. But is it predictable? Also, yes. I know how to account for if it's about to slide out, and I also know how to drive it so it doesn't slide out.
Yeah, well, I'll see about that when I buy a new car and about pricing and whatnot, but...
So...
Do you have anything more to say about Tesla's offering more paint finishes at no extra cost, which, I mean, I think it's pretty cool personally, but do you have anything more to say about that, or shall I move on to our next topic?
Yeah, I don't think I have much else to say at this point.
Alright, so Slate, an EV firm called Slate has just released a new $20,000 EV pickup.
That price is absolutely bogus.
I don't know about that, because, I mean, this is going to be made in America, mind you.
Not to mention, also, they're trying to rope in the tax credit to make that price technically correct.
Oh, this is good.
So it's probably going to start closer to $25,000 to $27,000.
Which will be about as much as a Ford Maverick, maybe a little bit less. Because I know the Ford Maverick was supposed to be like a $20,000 truck when it first came out, but now
nobody's paying that much money for them.
But the base model, which has literally nothing on it, starts at like $27,000, I think.
And that's assuming you can pick one up for MSRP. I've learned I have a friend who's currently buying a Ford Maverick. No, not Talon. This is one of my church choir friends, actually. He's currently trying to buy a Ford Maverick. Problem is, the dealers mark these things up like you wouldn't believe.
I know, for the Ford Maverick, I mean, I would love to have a Ford Maverick for such great vehicles, but for the prices they charge for it, you might as well just get a Ranger.
Well, the Ranger kind of suffers the same issue, too.
But again, it's just my issue of car dealerships in general.
Yeah.
Which is, again, why I'm stoked that Ford is at least starting to take action on this.
I'm so surprised, though, that I found two people that actually expressed some positive interest in the Slate EV, though. So, for context, at that realistically $25,000 to $27,000 starting price, because I don't factor in tax credits when I read off prices, the whole idea initially is Slate will sell you a bare bones, no thrills shell with powertrain. Like, the vehicle doesn't even have power windows. It's crank windows. It doesn't have a radio.
Aww.
It doesn't have speakers.
Huh. I mean, I think it's a good idea for I think that's a good idea for like a base, like a budget car oriented, but not necessarily for a pickup.
You'd be surprised though. I brought the whole thing up to my dad, which, keep in mind, he is super anti-EV. Really doesn't like EVs in general.
Let me guess, because it's bare bones, he likes it.
Yes. He actually loved the concept. He hated the powertrain, obviously. But when I told him, bare bones interior, doesn't even have power windows, that he didn't like, because power windows is one of the very few pieces of technology that he actually does appreciate. But bare bones truck, no thrills, purely there for the utility, for the price. He's like, yeah, I got a lot of respect for that. He thinks it's cool. He doesn't think the powertrain aspect of it is cool, but he just loves the whole interior concept. And then the same goes.
Does it have heating and AC?
Huh?
Does it have heating and AC at the base?
It does have that, at least. Yes, it does have climate control, but it's only single zone manual climate control. It's not even automatic climate control. And I think the reason why they included it is because it helps to have a defroster for your windshield in certain climate conditions.
That's a safety thing, and also like it's just like, come on, like it's good. Like you don't want to be in a 90-degree car in the summer, or else a 10-degree car in the winter. Like you don't want to be in cars that warm or cold.
Already have to deal with that.
Or you wouldn't want to deal with that and then not be able to warm your cars up or cool them down.
So, but yeah, it's basically that, and then whatever the federal government mandates for all new cars to include, be it for safety or who knows what. But
don't they technically have to include a backup camera?
Yeah, it has that, and that is the only reason why the gauge cluster is a screen. It's because they needed something for the backup camera, so instead of using physical gauges, they just made the whole thing a screen. So that way the backup camera has somewhere to display.
Well, it's cut down cost, so I can see that.
Yeah. Well, that, and also developing specific gauges. I'm not actually sure if it's cheaper than just using a screen and a computer chip.
It probably is not.
So, but yeah, my dad expressed interest in it. He's not buying it because the powertrain does not meet his needs, obviously. Though to my surprise, I was talking about this truck with Talon the other day. I think he put a reservation down for it.
Is he still going to buy that Ford Escape?
Fusion.
Ford Fusion. Is he still going to buy that?
Yeah, he plans on also having a 2-car fleet as well, where he has the Fusion. That's his primary daily driver, road tripper, the do everything car, and then as a utility truck for his business. He doesn't plan on taking that thing anywhere. So despite it only having 150 miles of range, he's like, I don't need more than that for just bombing around the city, doing mobile details or whatever. It's like 150 miles? That's plenty. 120 kilowatt charging? He knows that's slow. But at the same time, it's like, no, I'm just going to bomb around town, do whatever detail work I need to do, and then by the end of the day, I'll get home and plug it in the wall, and it's like, they'll never hit 120 kilowatts. They'll probably only hit whatever the home charger has.
I'm actually kind of interested in this vehicle now, because, I mean, are there ways to add a radio and speakers at least?
Yes, there are.
Okay,
it's either buy their.
I was obvious.
Yeah, it's either you can buy their options through Slate, though I have a feeling they're going to charge a lot, or you could do the whole bring your own setup.
Yeah, okay, Theo. I'm going to, except for the radio and speakers thing, which I'm probably going to add, which I'm definitely adding that when I mentioned becoming an electrician for a trade and by actual certification, and part of owning your own business for that is obviously having a truck. And because I don't plan on going super far away anyway, and I plan on having a Tesla for my full time car. I mean, I was previously debating getting a Rivian, but now I think the Slate might be better.
Yeah, I mean, considering that the Rivian also their asking prices are so high.
That's true.
It's like,
and I mean,
you'd have
for
to get
a
a
vehicle,
used
I'm just
one.
going to cruise around town.
Yeah.
For a vehicle, I'm just cruising around town cruising around my area doing jobs, and I'm honestly interested. I think my dad would be interested in the Slate EV too, realistically, because he has an '04 F-150 and a 2016 BMW M6, because he want. Well, actually, I don't know if he. Actually, he does get really paranoid about range, so he probably. I'm not sure if he would like the Slate, and also I don't. He might do more road trips in his F-150.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that situation, but yeah, I was surprised I brought this up to Talon, and I thought he's like, oh, this is going to be a little stupid, but no, I legit think he actually put a reservation down for one.
Would you buy, like, once it comes out and you have the money for it, would you get one?
Honestly, no. No. I mean, I love the concept and the idea of bringing it back to shopping around for the Canyon. Something I've learned that when I'm looking for the Canyon, it comes in two different cab configurations. You have the extended cab with the suicide doors, and then the crew cab, which is what it's like, take a sedan but put a pickup truck bed on it. That type of cab. So it's either you get the extended cab or the crew cab. I found that, again, Stardust, if I need to move people around, that's what Stardust is for. But if I need to move stuff around, then why do I need this extra back seat taking up space, adding extra length to the truck when I already hate big vehicles as they are? And, well, despite that the Canyon is a mid-size pickup truck, it's not very mid-size in today's day and age. So
it's like a GMC Sierra from 20 years ago.
Yeah, honestly, from my perspective, I like having the nice luxury car, which is what Stardust is, but then also having just a utilitarian pickup truck. I don't actually think I need like a luxury pickup truck or anything like that, primarily because it's like the only reason why I would want to have a luxury car is for if I'm going to be spending a ton of time in it. Like, say, on a road trip.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not likely to take the Canyon on a road trip because two factors. One, gas mileage. Stardust is obviously going to beat it in the fuel economy department. And then, two, I just completely forgot what two is, but gas mileage was one of them. So,
also the fact that, I mean, your current car is just fine for space.
Yeah. I mean, my car's already a full-size sedan, so I got a very roomy back seat. The trunk is, well, it's a little mediocre. It's closer to average, but it's not the greatest trunk space ever compared to the competition. But the car's big enough. I've never had any trouble fitting everything I needed to in the car. Remember the 42 dozen duck eggs?
Yep.
So the only reason I would take the truck on a road trip is if I either need to haul something big that won't fit in, maybe not even a crossover SUV where, yeah, I legit need a pickup bed, or if I need to tow. Otherwise, I would pretty much just use it as for one, a winter vehicle, because Ground clearance. That's its pro. A big pro for me. And then other mundane tasks like taking out the trash, hauling wood from the front yard to the woodshed. Various other small.
Do you have a dedicated woodshed at your house?
Huh?
You have a dedicated woodshed at your house?
Considering that we get wood by the semi-truckload, yeah, we have to.
Like, look, do you have semi-trucks that come in and take and get your and bring you wood?
Yeah, we legit have a full logging truck that comes into our driveway, and some years we only take one half of, or we only take the one truck. Other years, it'll be a truck and a trailer.
That is cool.
It's a lot of wood. We go through a lot of wood. That's how we heat the house. It's either that or pay the stupid prices for oil. Ugh.
I think wood is personally a better heating source for that than oil. Just saying.
Oh, it's a lot more cost effective. Because yeah, it's either initially when we moved in the house, all it had was an oil burning furnace, and that gets expensive during the winters. So that's why my dad built. Well, we're on our second wood stove now, but he built 2 wood stoves for this, just to heat the house in the winter, all for the sake of cutting the heating bill down. Seriously, the cost to heat ratio between wood and oil is it's a very stark difference. So,
I mean, I can see that when I grow up and have a house of my own, my plan is if it has gas line, I'm just gonna make sure it get cut off just so that there's no chance that carbon monoxide can enter my house, so I don't have to get a carbon monoxide detector. Because that's just unsafe, and my plan is to have my main energy source be a heat pump, because, well, you watch Technology Connections, you know why heat pumps are better.
Well, especially where you live down south, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
It makes way too
much sense. Where I live, it makes too much sense. Where I live, if you're south of the Ohio River, it makes too much sense to have a heat pump.
Yeah, up here.
And even if
up here, it... No, but considering our electricity prices too, that doesn't really help its case. The problem is up here, we will get those days quite frequently where we're below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So that means we're pretty much going to have to supplement the heat pump with resistive heat. And considering our electricity prices up here, we're probably still better off just using wood.
Yeah, and even on the days, on the rare occasion when it gets so cold that a heat pump wouldn't help, which again, wait a second, heat pumps work above 0 degrees, right?
Yeah, they work above 0 degrees. It becomes harder for them to function the colder it gets, but there are still plenty that you can get that work above 0 degrees.
Okay, then I can just use a heat pump then, because it virtually never gets below 0 degrees where I am.
Yeah, like I said, down in the south where you are, it makes too much sense to use a heat pump for your heating system. But yeah, up here in the UP, it just does not make sense. But either way, what were we talking? What? How did we get to heat pumps all of a sudden?
We were talking about Slate's new EV.
Oh yeah, right. Whether I would buy one or not. That's how. So while yes, I would. I don't care about having a luxury truck because for me, it's just a utilitarian tool. I don't need it to be fancy, and the car that I am going to do most of my driving in still is going to be Stardust. It's still going to be a sedan. So I'd rather have a luxury sedan.
I thought you said you wouldn't buy. I thought you said you wouldn't buy a Slate.
That's the interior concept design I'm on board with. The problem is the powertrain. I just don't think the powertrain is enough for me. Even though, yeah, I am if I were to have a truck, I would be a very light duty user. But up here, especially, 150 miles cut in half, that's 75 miles of range. And if I wanted to use it for any utilitarian purposes, for one, the frame is not particularly meant for... Forget towing. It's not a truck for towing at all. Just forget it. And for stuff in the bed, it has to be light stuff. It can't be heavy equipment of any sort.
Oh, then... Well, looking... Actually, I think... Actually, if I... Actually, like for stuff, if I become an electrician, like that type of stuff would probably be light enough to fit in a Slate's bed.
Yeah. I mean, weigh your stuff first to make sure that, yeah, the bed can actually handle it. But I do think the Slate probably could handle an electrician's tool set. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an electrician.
Yeah.
I don't know the trade that well. But at least for what I think I would do with the truck, especially when it comes to hauling wood, wood is heavier than you think, especially if it gets rained on.
Makes sense.
I think that would actually be enough. If I were to fill the bed of a Slate, that would be enough to bust it. And just in general, I mean, 150 miles in a southern city, I think would work just fine. The problem is, up here in the winters, 150 miles is going to get cut to 75 miles.
That makes perfect sense. Let me see where... Slate Auto headquarters. I'm actually going to see where they're based. They're based in Michigan!
Yeah, they're based in Troy, Michigan.
They're based in Michigan! And they're not even doing winter cars. Oh my god. I thought for sure when you were describing this is a company going to be this is going to be a company based in Texas or Florida. But a company in Michigan is doing this?
Here's the problem, though. They're based in Michigan's lower peninsula, which has drastically different weather compared to Michigan's upper peninsula.
It's still not. The lower peninsula still doesn't have the best winters, though.
I mean, you'll still get brown Christmases in Detroit.
I mean, you still need to have cars that can handle the winter in Detroit, is what I mean, so...
Well, a Detroit winter is typically closer to... again, because we're close to lakes and all that, we get slightly average warmer temperatures. What separates us is just the level of snow we get. That's where we're special. Detroit doesn't get a lot. Detroit doesn't get anywhere near the amount of snow that we get, and because they're close to Lake Huron and Lake Erie, it kind of helps warm the area up just a tad. So, because last time I went down there for Christmas, which was, goodness gracious, that was 10 years ago. Now that I think about it, 10 years ago when I went to Detroit for Christmas, back when my grandmother was still alive. It was averaging around 40 degrees basically the entire time. And the ground...
That's around the same as it is in my area.
The ground was brown.
Sometimes.
I'm willing to bet it's because we're close to the lakes.
Yeah.
So... But despite that we're close to Lake Superior, we're too far north for any noticeable benefit for that. And then we get absolutely hammered with snow. Gotta love lake effect.
Alright, well, Shall I move on to our first rumor and actually get back into tech, which is what this show is supposed to be about at first?
Yeah, probably. All right. What more do we have to be disappointed with the iPhone 17?
So the iPhone 17 Air is going to have 2 speakers on each side of the charging port, just 2 speaker holes. So for context, the speaker holes on each side of the iPhone's charging port.
Yep.
There will only be 2 on each side of the 17 Air to cut down on weight.
Oh dear.
That's not going to... I mean... I get why Apple's doing this, but at the same time, it's not going to sound good.
Oh, no. For one, you have less volume, so that means those speakers are moving less air, so you're already compromised from a volume perspective. But now that you're decreasing the speakers to something even smaller, these things are not going to sound that good.
And also, why didn't Apple just simply do what they were initially rumored to do, which is just have just the earpiece speaker? Because wouldn't that technically be the most weight effective way?
Because the earpiece speaker sounds terrible. Cut down. It's not meant for loud volumes.
Okay, that's true.
In fact, I know my previous girlfriend used to have a Motorola smartphone where the only speaker on that device was the earpiece speaker. You wanted to play any media, you're turning up the earpiece speaker. And it sounds terrible. It sounds okay when you're on phone calls because it's doing what any earpiece speaker was designed to do. But when you turn up an earpiece speaker to a much louder volume, no, it sounds absolutely horrible.
Okay.
Yeah,
then.
The only reason why Apple can make the stereo speakers work on the iPhone where, you got the speakers on the bottom here, but then they're also using the earpiece speaker at the same time. It's because in terms of the actual quality of the sound, these speakers down here are doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the quality aspects. All this is doing is just adding that extra field. But I have noticed, back when this phone was new, because at this point, this phone is... The speakers on this are terrible. They've aged. They've fully aged at this point. But back when this was new, I did a test. I covered up the bottom speakers so that way I could primarily hear the earpiece speaker. And the earpiece speaker sounds worse than the bottom speakers. I'm not shocked by that.
That makes perfect sense. Or you weren't shocked?
Yeah, I was not shocked by that when I initially bought the XS Max. Now both sets of speakers sound terrible. That makes perfect sense. But that's what age.
That makes sense because I get why Apple wants to add speakers on each side of the charging port now, but the 17 Air. It's still not. It's a weird phone, I'll say that, but we've already gone to enough rambles on 17 Air. But shall I move on to some good news for the iPhone 17 Pro? Well, some of it's good, some of it's bad.
All right.
So let's start with the bad news first. The dynamic island will remain the same size.
At this, I legit don't care because I'd rather a notch. So I legit don't care about that.
But this is the good news for me, which is that the frame is not going to be aluminum. It'll have no aluminum on it, actually, and that I'm not just talking about the sides will be made out of titanium like that on the 16 Pro, but also the back is just going to be uniform glass, and it'll actually look a little better. And not quite as bad as it's going to.
Okay. And then,
but this is the best news though. There will be no matte display option.
Oh.
Or texture glass, but there will be no option for that.
Yeah, and here's the reason why I think there shouldn't be. When it comes to being indoors, this isn't as massive of a problem because, you can control the light better, but when... I genuinely hate matte displays with a passion. I have never seen a matte display that I actually like looking at. It washes out the colors, and despite that, people say, oh, matte displays help get rid of reflections. I'd argue no, they don't get rid of reflections. They instead spread it out across the entire panel and wash the whole thing out.
Like my car's main infotainment system display now, it's been replaced with a matte one. It looks basically unreadable in certain light conditions.
Yeah.
Just hang on, let me find that photo.
Yeah, matte displays, no, they're not getting rid of the light. What it's doing is it's spreading it out across the entire panel.
This is how it looks. My car's main display looks so much more unreadable.
Oh yeah, I can hardly read that.
Unviewable in person. And furthermore, like there like on its main UI, you can set like different color wallpapers, and technically you can set black, white, black, cherry, or red, yellow, and when I tried the red out briefly, just because I was looking for a different wallpaper, and I could barely even tell it was red.
Yeah.
That's how bad my Sony stereos display is.
Yeah, so in an indoor environment, you can, to an extent, control the lighting, but outside, no, that's going to become a massive problem, and those screens would just get washed out like you would not believe.
And matte displays make a little more sense on I can see it for computer monitors and TVs that are not taking anywhere. But again, it's the same problem, but you can control it more. But with phones, you're going to be taking them outside.
Yeah, and just the reflection thing that everyone loves to bring up just bothers me so much. It's either the way I see it is you're choosing between washing out the entire display or an intensely lit spot on the display. That's what you're choosing between. With the intensely lit spot, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to see what is there especially, but you can still see the rest of the display. But if light were, say that spot were there in the exact same position but on a matte display, that's going to wash out the entire monitor. Your colors are going to get worse. In other words, matte your brightness levels are going to be meaningless.
Refract.
Yeah. It's...
In other news, matte displays refract while glossy displays reflect.
Yeah, that's what you're choosing between. So this whole argument about, oh, the matte display is superior, BS.
My mom used to always be so passionate about matte displays and laptops because for the same reason that most people are, because she likes how they can't be washed out, so light can't be washed out so easily. But ever since she got her first 2019 MacBook Pro back in late 2021, she's been just fine of having glossy screens on her MacBooks.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't Apple also start offering matte on the M5? Or no, is M5 out?
M4.
Oh, I'm thinking like M4. Thunderbolt 5. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, didn't Apple start offering a nanotexture option for the M4?
They did, and this isn't their first rodeo of that either, because on the 2009 until 2012, Apple offered a matte MacBook Pro then too. And and I have a very good feeling why they got rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, my Dell XPS has a matte display. And not only does my MacBook, I can tell my MacBook has I can't English for crying out loud. Not only does my MacBook have a higher quality display in the resolution department, that doesn't bother me that much. I care more about screen real estate. But yeah, despite that my XPS has an extra inch of screen real estate, my MacBook's 16-inch display feels more premium because of that glossy display. The matte panel looks cheap.
Exactly.
And it probably costs them more too. So they're effectively spending more money on making your display worse.
It's almost like it's like these off-roading vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, you're spending more money on your vehicle just to make it slightly less comfortable. Also, you can tame the potholes. Ugh. Marketing departments, I hate them. I now have a strong hatred for marketing departments. To me, their job is supposed to explain why the product is good and not convince you that just I'm explaining exactly what they're doing. There's technically still doing this. The problem is they are doing too good of a job.
They're explaining to you why it's good when it's bad.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, I hate matte displays. Okay, next up.
Alright, so the folding iPhone 8, which is rumored to be called the iPhone 18 Ultra, is rumored to be 4.5 millimeters thin when unfolded, which will make it the thinnest Apple product ever besides the Apple Card. It'll have a 5.5 inch hour display, and when unfolded, it'll have a 7.8 inch screen, so still smaller than a tablet. There will be no display crease, a dual lens camera setup. It'll have Touch ID similar to iPads, and a $2,000 price point.
I sense a problem.
I sense multiple problems. First of all, the 7.8 screen is still small. It's still technically smaller than an iPad Mini. Than the first iPad Mini, which is a 7.9 screen. So saying that's both a phone and a tablet is kind of pointless. What else? Oh yeah, the dual lens setup is worse than the triple lens setup, and this is a phone that costs more, mind you. And oh yeah, Touch ID, which not everybody has fingerprints or hands or fingers even.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too.
Everyone has a face.
Yeah, not everybody has hands. I keep forgetting Colton Gurin from Out of Spec Detailing. He's missing a hand.
Yeah.
Somehow he details expensive cars for a living. That's awesome. But
does he have hooks that he uses?
Huh?
Does he have hooks that he uses for that kind
of
thing?
No, he legit just uses one hand.
I actually saw a guy. There was actually a guy who came to my elementary school once that had one hand.
I remember my last year in school. Apparently, a handicapped basketball team came up to showcase wheelchair basketball. And yeah, a bunch of these people were missing their legs, missing their feet. It was an interesting sight. It was cool to watch, though, to see that they came up with an adapted set of rules for disabled people to enjoy themselves. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, not everyone has hands or all appendages, but I mean, I still have yet to find an exception to this. Who doesn't have a face?
I think technically you have to have a face because you have to have a brain in order to survive.
Yeah, I legit don't know anyone that does not have a face.
I don't think there is anyone without a face.
So, yeah, my rant for Touch ID continues. I still hate that Apple is using it. I really hope the next MacBook redesign has Face ID.
Same.
But actually, the other problem that I wanted to point out, how the heck are they supposed to fit a USB-C port on that without that device snapping in half?
How thick is a Let me look up how thick is a USB-C port.
Oops, I'm typing spaces. Let me see.
2.4 millimeters, okay. So there is technically room to make it work.
What's the material, though? That's what I'm concerned with. if that's aluminum, that is 100% going to snap easily.
Actually, I think any metal could easily snap that.
You get it thin enough, yeah. I mean, this iPad's failure point, I'm not going to demonstrate it for obvious reasons, but this iPad Pro's structural failure point, right there, that is the first part to break. That is where the structure will collapse.
I guess if you get an iPhone full, just use wireless charging if it does retain that then, but...
I'm worried that's going to actually break. No, that's if they use aluminum.
And of course, that could fry the whole logic board.
Yeah, they have to fit a whole logic board. They have to fit a battery. They have to fit the display, touch controllers, and all of that.
And I know if you did, and I know on some iPhones, if you believe it or not, if you get cheap dollar store power bricks and chargers, they can actually fry your whole phone's logic board.
I mean, come to think of it though, if the phone's that thin, are they even going to be able to fit wireless charging?
I don't even know what they're going. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Oh, that sounds. Enough people already still feel that, like, both my mom and my sister, for example, when I showed them the Galaxy Z Flip thing at Walmart, they had one on display. When I showed them that, folding it and unfolding it, their reaction is like, "That's gonna break. That is so going to break."
I mean, in my Galaxy Z Flip 3, I think it. Yeah, it's a Z Flip 3. Because it has micro cracks in it, somebody actually commented on the video saying that the micro cracks could technically damage the whole display.
Yeah, it really is enough to do it.
This display isn't toasty yet, I don't think, but I have to be very careful with it.
So yeah, people are already concerned enough as is about today's foldables. If Apple makes it as thin as they claim they're going to, oh gosh, that's probably not going to help their case at all.
That's going to be like the Galaxy Fold 100 times worse.
Yeah.
Because Apple's expected... Well, actually, Apple's not expected to do quality products anymore.
Yeah. Ever since 2024 happened.
Alright.
So,
shall I go ahead and move on to some actually good news?
That's
for our final topic.
Oh, this one?
So, remember how we were talking about how Apple should do a proper version of Samsung DeX on iPhones? Except obviously call it their own. Apple is going to sort of be doing that as they're rumored to bring Stage Manager to the iPhones with external displays. And the way they're going to make this work is that they're going to have iPad apps also download onto the iPhone. So that way, when your iPhone is connected to an external display, it'll show the iPad app.
I legit don't think I'd want that, nor would I ever use it.
I mean, I wouldn't use it either.
It's just the reason why we have these devices is it's convenient and it's quick and it's always in our pockets. It's either that or it's on a charger. It's, at least from my mentality, the only reason why I would do everything on this phone is if, I need to do something real quick. But if I'm going to focus on something, like actually focus, I always go back to the MacBook. Well, not always.
Same.
Sometimes I'll go to the iPad. But to me, the phone is just there to be able to do something quick and easy. But when you're actually going to focus on something, the phone's just not optimized for that. And I personally wouldn't change it to try to optimize it for that, because
that'll just ruin the experience of iOS.
Yeah, at that point you're dealing with trade-offs. It's the quick and easy experience versus the spend more time, take your time, do it properly experience. I mean, well, I should be holding up the Mac, but I'm not going to. I think that's a part of the reason why the iPad's in its crisis. It's trying to blend the quick and easy experience versus the take your time, do it right experience. Just... Yeah, I legit don't think it makes sense for the iPhone.
I mean, I personally agree too, because once again, I wish iOS 19 would focus more on just debloating iOS.
That's all we need. Like, honestly, I don't even want that redesign. It's not just design preference or whatever. It's just, I don't want a redesign when we're currently in the midst of one of the worst iOS versions in history.
The only app I want redesigned is, well, the Photos app, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. We want it redesigned to be what it previously was before. It's just, Apple doesn't get it. Like,
they don't.
They want...
The only redesigns
I found
want
it hilarious that they were listening to us
simple.
beforehand, but now they've just completely stopped.
It's like Apple's going back to the original form, but in all the wrong ways.
Yeah. Yeah, when they listen to us, they listen to us for the wrong things, like getting rid of the touch bar on the MacBook Pros, making their color options on their lineups worse.
Hold up. The tech community want worse color options?
I don't know. Oh, squared edges. That's a big one.
Yes.
I hate squared edges. You know how much I hate squared edges.
Same.
And yet, tech community is like, oh, squared edges, squared edges. We got them now. You happy? And now I'm worried that it's... I'm almost kind of worried. Oh, redesign. We want a redesign. Or customization. We want Android levels of customization. It's just...
If you want Android levels of customization, just buy an Android.
Yeah. Yeah, the things where they should listen to us are on, like, okay, the butterfly keyboard, it was legit bad. It was pretty unusable for quite a few people. So fixing the butterfly keyboard, that was a good move. Here's the other thing I keep forgetting. Thicker MacBooks. People wanted thicker MacBooks again because, well, the previous thinner ones had Intel chips, and we're struggling to cool those Intel chips.
I don't like thicker MacBooks. Like I miss my 2019 MacBook Pros. If Apple made an Apple Silicon version of the, I actually would be perfectly fine if Apple brought back the 2019 MacBook Pro design, just put in M5 or M6 then in there. If they did that, then I would buy it.
Yeah, that's...
Or I would actually wait for probably the M7 because that's when I want to keep my current MacBook Pro for 4 years until 2027.
Yeah, it's for... I get it. Increasing cooling power makes sense. The problem was that really only would have been necessary if Apple stuck with those Intel chips. And guys, we know how efficient Apple Silicon runs. The MacBook Air can do it just fine.
Yes,
it's their thinnest laptop, and it doesn't even have a fan. It's doing it just fine. Did we really need this thickness increase?
No.
Just they listened to the wrong people who had no idea what the heck they're talking about, and now they're ignoring us on things that do actually matter because they got scarred from listening to the wrong people. And that's how we're in the situation where iOS sucks. We're in this whole AI crap hole at this point. Just again, being a tech enthusiast is so hard these days. In fact, I've actually kind of gotten to the point where I might actually pivot the channel a bit.
What are you going to do with the random alpha gadgets?
I was thinking, I mean, I don't want it to sound like I'm copying what Technology Connections does, but the genuine truth is, and this, you ask any of my relatives, they'll tell you this is true. I have always been fascinated by how things work. Even the mundane things like appliances, for example, but there's also other things that I've always just been curious to know. How the heck do these things work?
To be honest, I hate admitting this, but I actually considered what I actually considered doing back in 2022, July 2022, for when I first started watching Technology Connections. I know it sounds stupid, but I was considering making simplified explanations of all the type of stuff he does.
Well,
I guess I could do that, but...
Well, here, let me show you something. There's one.
I think you should totally do that if you want to. It's still technology. It's still gadgets.
Yeah.
It's just different kinds.
Yeah, it's staying on point. I thought I had another one that was out lying around. Oh well, I'll just pull this one, I guess. Oh, but that's attached to... My drawer is such a mess. I could have... Oh, there it is. The camera will focus. This little guy.
Is that a circuit?
It's a relay. So what this is supposed to enable you to do, in theory, I realize I accidentally bought the wrong ones for my project, but what this is supposed to let you do is turn on an electrical circuit via another electrical circuit. So in theory...
I would watch that.
Yeah, in theory, what I was supposed to do was get one of these that can be turned on via a microcontroller, like my Raspberry Pi, for example. The problem is I bought the wrong one, and I bought one that's rated for, you need 12 volt power to do it. A Raspberry Pi needs 3.3 volts or something like that. So, yeah, this isn't enough to do it. But, yeah, like a relay, microcontrollers, that type of stuff. And then just to start off small scale and then work our way into where can we find these things? Because these are common in so many places. Like, I assume you being in the South, your home has air conditioning.
Yes.
You got a big one of these in your air conditioner to turn that thing on.
You're blowing me away. And not by just talking about air conditioners, even though it's actually getting kind of cold in my area this Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, we had a bit of a cold snap for the past few days, but even still, yeah, your air conditioner is controlled by one of these.
The highs might be in the low 60s where I am coming up.
So yeah, I thought about because smartphones, laptops, all that stuff, it's where else are we realistically going to go with that? Because at this point, now that we have Apple Silicon and we have like crazy powerful Macs, more powerful than we know what to do with, in relatively affordable machines these days, with excellent battery life and all the benefits, where do you go with laptops from here?
I mean, once Apple redesigns it, then okay, they'll. I'm not saying that tech entirely is boring, but I mean, I can see why you want to get into that.
Yeah, but that's just something that I have always been fascinated. Like, a story my parents told me was when I was 5, getting in the car, I would just study the hinge of the door.
Do you actually remember any of that?
A little bit, yeah, I do. But yeah, I would just, when I was 5, getting in the car, I'd study how does this door hinge work? How does the door pivot like the way it does?
When I was 5, back in Christmas 2013, do you know what a snap circuit is?
I can't think. No, I don't think so.
Basically, a snap circuit is like it's circuits that are meant for kids, basically.
Oh, okay.
So I remember making so many. I remember having a lot of fun with even though I didn't have my snap circuit for a super long time, that's long gone now. I remember having a lot of fun with it when I did, and I now try and make little things like lights and fans.
Yeah, and I got myself my own electrical snap circuit. This thing actually literally snaps, by the way. But yeah, I legit do not know where to go with that channel anymore. I don't know, and there's nothing exciting in the news. There's nothing really worth talking about anymore.
I'm running out of things talking about on the iTunes fanboy as well. Once I get out, because the problem is that doing tech tutorials on legacy iOS devices, that takes a lot of time out that I don't necessarily have right now. Again, once I get out of school, I should have more time for that. What else? The tech news is too boring these days to necessarily follow it, and I mean, you can only go so far with retrospectives and whatnot. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what I'm exactly going to do with my main channel, because I know I'm going to keep it going, at least for now.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to keep going. I know tech will still be a key part of it, but I mean, I uploaded a video last Friday on why American child labor laws are too harsh.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be getting bored if I'm willing to do that on my main channel, and the only reason why I uploaded that to my main channel is because it explains more of my struggle for saving up for tech.
Yeah. Yeah, just coming up with content ideas. I mean, we've seen what Drew's posting on Talos of Tech these days.
It's aviation stuff, and I mean, I'm fine with aviation stuff, but it's not. Well, if I did aviation videos, I don't know honestly what I'd do, because I'm not super. I'm gonna fix that this summer, but I've never even been on a plane before.
Yeah. But
I will be going on I'll be going on several planes this summer, though.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, in general, I think like the consumer electronics space, it's really at this point, I can only see incremental upgrades here or there, and these have become such commodity products at this point.
Also their innovation is also their tech companies are just getting too lazy with them.
That is true too. I mean, there's plenty of room for innovation on the iPad, for example. Plenty of room.
There's plenty of room on I can think of lots of consumer electronics innovation ideas.
All of which are keeping a secret.
I obviously won't say them
because company.
Yeah, I'll keep them a secret for my own tech company. But yeah, I have lots of ideas on how to improve consumer electronics, but I just don't. But they just won't do them. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what I'll do with my channel. But in other news, it is 8 p.m., which means it's officially time for us to stop recording. So
yep, I guess so.
Alrighty, as always, thank you all for tuning into another episode of TIFP, and as always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we're signing off for now, and we hope to see you all in the next episode. Peace out, everyone.